times like this, I want to give back a little bit. So we're just going to do that giveaway, okay? So make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it, and make sure you leave a comment, all right? The 500 comment and the 1,000 comment, all right? 500 and 1,000, we're going to give a Cash App giveaway, all right? $100 Cash App giveaway to each one. 500 comment and 1,000 comment, all right? We're going to do that giveaway for this video, okay? We're going to be doing it in the future too, but definitely this video right here, so make sure you watch to the end. I might drop another jewel in there for you guys to take part of too, all right? We'll go in talk to one of my clients. He's like a historian here, so he tells me about all the barbers in Alexandria that came through and this and that. So he always fills me in on that. So instead of me trying to regurgitate that and tell y'all, I'm gonna let y'all hear from the man himself. So we're gonna check him out. What's good?
See how many lives I can get straight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7.
I just
You losing weight?
no, I think it's the black.
I don't know about that, boy. I got good eyesight.
I think it's the black. I mean, I've been working out in the mornings though. Trying to keep a figure, right?
Yeah. Oh Lord, I feel one coming on.
Lord, baby.
Early in the morning.
Hey, but I told when I talk to you all the time, definitely about the barbers and the history of the barbers and the barbers that were in Alexandria came through.
Yeah.
Definitely during your time like that. I've been trying to regurgitate it, but I can't tell it the way you tell it though. So just as far as the barbers that were down there, like I think you said Jimmy Red,
Mr. Harris, Booker T. So many of them. One day, I could make a way for you to meet with Booker T, because he's been a barber now almost 50 years here in Alexandria.
Yeah. And you said George came from the Jimmy Red shop?
Yeah. George came from Jimmy Red, then he moved to Mount Vernon Avenue.
And he was cutting, like back then, what was the price?
25 cents for me. Then I turned 13, then it went up to 50 cents. Then when I turned 18, it was 75 cents.
Wow.
Then $1.25.
Yeah.
Hey, some of it, you still thinking about your academy?
You know what? Yes and no. A little bit. Yeah.
Think about it, and I could hook you up with small business people to talk to them about it.
We need it. We need it. I just gotta get the right people in place.
Yeah.
For that, so I can make sure that the education and the training is proper. Because what I'm seeing right now is coming out of these schools. It's not at the par whatsoever. I gotta make sure that thing.
I'm helping the fire chiefs put together a EMT training club.
Okay.
Yeah, we're trying to work with the school to see how they want to do it, and we're going to get Gerald Wanga to be, Wanga was number 2 on the fire department. Try to get him, not him, but try to get the school to get into the mindset. They don't want to. People, when I was coming up, you were coming up, they had distributed ed and vocational ed. They don't want to do it nowadays, man. It's the time to do it during the pandemic. Exactly. And during this, I would say, creative development. You come today to talk about the barbers. When I look at the situation today with the pandemic, I think in terms of reconstruction. I think in terms of where we are today. As a skill and livable vocation skill. For example, when I do read my history on barbers, I was surprised how many men of distinction, what we call men of distinction or men of character in the community, who were barbers. And I'm like, after the Civil War and before the Civil War. But when I think of people like Felix Dorsey, in the 1800s, 1845, he was a barber. And he was from Philadelphia, but he had moved around, and one of the places he stopped there was Alexandria. And he was a Mason, but he also helped this oldest lodge in the state of Virginia, Universal Lodge, get started. With he being a barber, Also, there was John Colston, Pete Colston. These are descendants of Martha Washington, which were children of George Washington Park Custis. They were barbers. They lived on 8th Street next to Southeast. They lived at next to Frederick Douglass. But these men of distinction were barbers in the community. So when I think in terms of the mass, we don't think that people need a haircut. But some people, you know, because of the mass of African Americans or blacks in America, that was an economy that they could serve. And the barbers, not only, as you know, John, not only were they haircutters, but they was in the medical field too, pulling teeth, remedies, setting remedies for, you know, hair disease way before Maggie Walker and Madam CJ. But that they had concoctions, if you will. But if you see the red and white ribbon around the barbers, that represents the medicinal aspect for it, barbers and medicine. With Alexandria, for me, coming up, of course, there was Jimmy Red. I can't think of George's last name.
Davis.
Huh?
George Davis.
Davidson, okay. And then he was a young man, he was young. Then you had Mr. Dancy, who owned a lot of property on Queen Street, what now it's called the Parker Gray Historical District. Then you had, so when you had the owners, but you had all kind of people that would work with. We had the ladies salon, and you know, along with it. Then you had barbers that had chairs in there. So you may have the main people like Dancy, Mr. Harris, Jimmy Red, but there was other people that was employed in there, whatever they were paying rent for the chairs or whatever. But they had a skill, and it was a way out. And then if you think in terms of, and I'll go back to the pandemic in a minute, but when you think in terms of the military being segregated, you had to have black barbers in there because white wouldn't cut the white, you wouldn't cut, and blacks wouldn't cut the whites, and the whites wouldn't cut the blacks.
And so, I tell them that this industry is still they still segregated, you know, to a point. You still got the black barbershop, the white barbershop, you know, you hear that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I know, because I've been looking at the clippers myself. But you know, but one of the great legendary barber here in Alexandria, Mr. Townsend, Tancil, Herbert Townsend. Herbert Townsend, they call him the mayor's barber. He was in the 200 block of King Street, and Mr. Townsend, you had Herbert Townsend Sr. I'm not sure what his other kids did, but there was this line of Townsend, Herbert Townsend Jr., and Herbert Townsend III. But Mr. Townsend would call the funny, I got another story in Fredericksburg, but Mr. Townsend would call the mayor's barber because he cut out he was a good barber. And you talking about color, there was a barbershop in Fredericksburg, which I'm thinking about, that this man, he could pass for white. I ain't gonna call his name, but he wouldn't cut black folks' hair, but he would cut white folks' hair. And Mr. Townsend was of a light skin color. I don't know if that had anything to do with him just cutting the man's hair or of his skill level. But again, coming to earlier today with the pandemic, is that but still you got a volume of people that has a need, and people without jobs, people was being free, what we call first free after the Civil War. I mean, you got the numbers again of African Americans who are unemployed. And so looking at people like Booker T. Washington in the 1870s when they started the school system, not Booker T. didn't start in 1870, but being that the school was open, you got to remember, black folks had a skill, carpenters, barbers, and brick masons, and so forth, because of the skill craft that they learned on the plantation. And so they transferred that out to their livelihood as they, raised families and created, as I call it, a nation. A nation being that there was so much segregation and Jim Crowism. So you think about Booker T. Washington at the Tuskegee, or what we call normal schools. That's what they called them back in the day, which became colleges and universities. That barber was a big thing. For example, the M Street Academy over in D.C., which later became Martha Washington School, and which was a great institution, not only for, it was the first black high school in America, matter of fact, that they had barber and nursing, homemaking, what we would call home economics in my time, to give people a workable, livable skill. And people took advantage of those opportunities. Today, I've always encouraged the school system, been in the school system because of the mass concentration of young people, those training. We had distributed ed, vocational ed. They don't have, I don't know if they have that much in schools as it is now, but for young people to earn a craft and a livable skill, because everybody's not going to college, college is a business that pushed that, and, as an economic thing. But a mass majority of people, just everyday working people, skill level. So my thing with the school board is to encourage them, whether it's barber, training, dentistry. Even Martha Washington had a dentistry school too, and where you can go get a license as a dental assistant. That under my opinion, under the new economics now, you just got to be creative, and that creativity is going to include people talk about the prison pipeline. How to break that too is you got to give a skill level where someone can have a livable opportunity. Because everybody's not criminal, everybody's not going to jail. And you got more C students than you got A students. That's what I always say. So anyway, going to that. When I was coming up, for example, I went to Jimmy Red. He was down on Royal Street, on the 200 block of South Royal Street. I paid 25 cents for a haircut. Big. Then when I turned 13, I paid 50 cents. Then when I turned 17, paid 75 cents. The men of the time was paying 75 on up to $1.50. That's now I ain't gonna put no prices out there now because of the time. But
this is like what, 19?
Well,
late 60s.
Well, actually, no. It was the early 60s. Wasn't no dinosaurs walking when I was on the earth. So, but talking about, we're talking 50-some years ago, 57 years ago, 62, 63, and little kids paying 25 cents for the little ones. There was a barber on 200 block. I don't think his name is, I can't think of his name. But in the 200 block of North Payne Street, next to Cameron and Payne, it's in the 1834 business section of Alexandria Business. It's listed in there if you want to look up his name. Because not only did he have a barber, he had a restaurant. So my point with that is the barbers were diversified. They had the barbershop, but they also owned property.
Yes. And
they own the property where they can rent it out to people, rooms or rent houses. And they were entrepreneurs. And I would say pioneers, and the pioneer in the sense that they were very creative in their portfolio. Like, a better word is portfolio. And behind every good barber, there were good women too, because they were businessmen and they had families. In order to run a business, you had your family, your mate was very key and very significant in the achievements that they made. Mr. Harris, his barbershop was on the corner of Queen. It was between Queen and Princess Street. Then you had dances on Queen Street, and you had Mr. Booker T, who worked at Harris and dances, and Mr. Booker T's still alive, and he had he's still there as a 2020. So here's another. Harris, and Okay. Then he went to dances, and then he up and on. But the barbershop was the one-stop place. You could get your news, you can get the gossip, You can get the truth, then you can get some lies. And plus, you can get some laughter too, because that was like, in my opinion, like a little city hall or little meeting halls. It was a neutral spot where you could have the highest, and you could have the highest economic person, then you could have the lowest. And when I say low, not in character, but in terms of economic money making. You will have the trash man with the preacher. You will have the preacher with the pool hustler. And so you had all makeup people at one spot. It's the hub. Get your hair cut, shoot the breeze, kick the bobo, as they say, and just check on wellness of each other. And when I'm wellness, how you doing today? What's up, man? Then sometime it was the mediation center where individuals had beef. Where you had beef, you was able to come on neutral territory and just coexist. And so the barbers many times were mediators. Man, you need to stop that all. Man, you need to do this. But in the scheme of things, there was also, as I call them, the watchers. The watchers is the type that the men that would tell little kids, give them wise wisdom, stay out of trouble. Don't do this and don't do that. Or your mama will not be proud of you. Make your family proud. Or you got potential. Because they could see potential in people and encourage them. At the same time, they could tell you that you need to change your ways. We call it throwing bricks at the jail now. But at the time I was coming up, they was as before. They was encouragers. I mean, every black community development from after the Civil War, before the Civil War, to Harlem Renaissance, to the U Street Quarter, the barber is the anchor, was an anchor of the community. And no matter where you go in any African American community, whether it's Kansas City, whether it's New York, even in the South, well, ain't no even in the South, places like Winston-Salem or Florence, Wilmington, Barbers was an anchor because they had money at their assets and they knew that they could build a community. So, Alexandria, as I say, Alexandria, Virginia, has a long legacy with Barbers.
Mr. Johnson? Mr. Johnson?
Where was it?
Corner whip.
Oh yeah, at the Rabbit building. Yes, yeah. Mr. Williams and Mr. Williams too.
Mr. Williams.
Yeah. That's Pendleton Street.
Yeah.
Then you have the ladies, Miss Price. Now Miss Price had a beauty shop which is on the corner of Henry and Pendleton Street at Baker Jackson's. Baker Jackson's wife was a beautician for a long time. She lived up into her 80s. It's so many. It's so much in this town.
Mr. Mackey. Let's go to Mr. Mackey. On Mount Vernon Avenue. You remember Mr. Mackey?
Down there by the waffle shop?
Yeah. No, not that far. That's what George is.
Yeah, what George is.
That's George Davis. But he was up a little across from Mount Vernon Elementary School.
I don't remember Mr. Mackey.
Yeah.
So that's funny you say that. Because there were sections of Alexandria because of segregation that black folks couldn't go to. And Mr. Mackey was one of them sections that what we call now Del Rey, but it's a town originally called the town of Potomac. Mm-hmm. And the town of Potomac was a town like Tenor Hill up in Falls Church that wouldn't allow black folks to, it was incorporated in 1915, they didn't allow black folks to live in the community. But being that Mr. Mackey was there at a time where once was and where black folks could go to, became an owner in this section of Alexandria there. So things changed. Things changed for the better. And when you go to Anacostia in D.C., Barbers all on what used to be called Asylum Road, which is now what is that? Escapes me right now. Nellie Helen Barrow.
Oh yeah.
Martin Luther King. It's called Martin Luther King Avenue now.
Mm-hmm.
Barbers all over. But can you imagine for 25 cents?
Hey.
Yeah. But the Barber was men of distinction of their time because it was an honest job, honest vocation, honest skill. Yeah. You know, here's one. You know, some of the barbers was also meeting houses. You know, and we had, and like for instance, Booker T, which is now every Wednesday night. He for the last 50 years he didn't had. I don't know the name of his ministry, but they have churches in there all the time. Church every Wednesday night, Bible studies and so forth. And we would call it holistic, but I would call it a spiritual involvement. You know, spiritual involvement. Because you go back to Booker T. Washington when they had the United Negro Improvement Association. That for the men, then you had one for the women. Well, I wouldn't even call it auxiliary, but I would call it, the women had their charter membership, and the men had their charter membership, and you had all kind of people meeting together, talking about the improvement of the race being black, not African American, but just black, the black race. You know, from in my lifetime, I done walked from, well, we don't use that N-word. My lifetime, Negro, African American, colored, yeah, colored, or even on my birth certificate, colored. So, saying that to say, all the scheme of it is humanity. That's the bottom line. It's about humanity. So many. But Jimmy Red, they had a saying in Alexandria, Jimmy Red ain't dead, he just needs your head. That was a code word for a haircut, boy, you need a haircut. That's what that was about, need a haircut. Jimmy Red ain't dead, he just needs your head.
Speaking of which, like you need one, we gotta get you up there next week or so.
But you know, you're talking about George. George was an entrepreneur too because he had a clothing line. You know, he had a clothing line where, you know, you get your suits, your shirt, your shoes, you know, or, you know, the barbershop, if you have somebody, depending on what you want to do, you always have somebody from the neighborhood who has suspect activity that you can get a bargain, you know, just people helping each other out, making do.
He's talking about the George, that's the one I was telling you, the only Rolls Royce I seen in Alexandria.
Yeah.
The only one, I was like, I'm the only one. And the barber had
one, but 2 or 3 of them through his lifetime. He had a white one, he had a gray and a blue and a white.
Yeah. So the barber had that? That's all, man. That's what I got to do right there. I got to cut that.
Yeah.
Seeing that, yes, for sure. But like I said, he sold clothes. He had a clothing line.
Yeah.
He had the suits because my father was good at getting the suits.
Yeah.
Nice suit, hook it up for him.
Yeah.
And then
I know probably else we had shark skin suits, and you know it wasn't no cheap material.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a beautiful clothes.
He did women's hair too.
And hat too.
I think he mainly did women's hair.
Yeah. Well, because you know, like your brother will go like once a month. The women will go every week. Get that little curl, that press, that press. Yeah, pressing. What do you call it? Press and curl. Press and curl.
That's what my mother was doing.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Then here's something about a lot of people don't know about the barber. But when you go to the funeral, you never see no nappy hair or no bad hair. The barbers will go into the mortuaries and do the hairdresser. You know.
I got called for that.
Yeah.
I didn't do it though.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a cousin. She did it for a long time. She worked for Mr. Dancy. My cousin Jean, and she will go into the various.
What's her last name?
King. You know, my cousin Brian's mother. Yeah. Then you had a lot of ladies, men that, oh Lord, we called the bootleg barber. Yeah. And you know, you're talking about the barbers, they had the clippers. Oh man, I hated them. You know, the squeeze type, and then electric. I remember, well, I don't know, they probably came out before I was born, but I remember when some of the barbers that had barbers in their house, Mr. Pete, he was on the corner of King and Peyton Street, and he had the little clippers. And then I remember when he went over to electric clippers, but Then you have barbers that will work during the day and have the shops on the weekend, or the shops at night. I ain't call no names. Statute of limitation. But no, they creative, very creative.
Yeah.
Worst thing you would want it was a bowl cut.
Right. Just put that bowl on your head. And
Yeah, clip around. Yeah. Because everybody know you got it from home. When a homemade cut. But it's so. The key to the Barbers and the key to Alexandria history, that it has to be told. And I say this: SU2, see us too. See us too. You know, see us too. Yeah. That's my energy. See us too.
Trying to get that word out.
Yeah.
I'm working on it.
Yeah, you be fine, man. Yeah, you will have all kind of people like coming to the barbershop. You know, how you think James Brown had that conquering and then he went Afro? How you think Fast Domino, you know, they had that process and all that? Just think about it. So, musician. Even Barbers got a day job. I better get one too. Keep playing this thing. Wow. What is it, Price? What is it?
That James Bond.
I see it. I see that. I see. Huh?
That James Bond. Aston Martin.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. See? I ain't never seen a car like that before in my life. Do it fly?
Hey, it's fast. Fast enough. Put some wings on it. Spike in there a little bit.
That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. Wow. Why do I have this? Hey, check this. If I'd known I was going to be on this and that, I wouldn't have had this on. Oh, Lord. I sure wouldn't have. I ain't dead. I'm standing up. I wouldn't have had this on, John. What you say, John? Why you?
Hey, baby. We gonna keep it. We gonna keep it real.
Oh, Lord, today.
100. We'll keep it 100.
Yeah, you can do that. But 150 won't hurt. 150 wouldn't hurt, but 50 cents wouldn't hurt. you can have 50. Lord, today. And tomorrow, too. Oh, Lord.
Represent.
Whoa. Yeah.
You gonna put Harlem on there?
Yeah, I done put something. I'm up here trying. Oh, Lord. Well, Alexandria is Scottish town, but no. Man, you got me. See what happened at the barber shop? Shoulda, oh, Lord. I am. You got me. Hold on. Lord, today.
Hey, too late now, man.
Oh, yeah. Edit all that out.
Hey, you done gave us 30 minutes.
Excuse me. Cut.
You gave us 30 minutes of Scotland.
Oh, Lord. Lord. That first time he got me, but anyway, representing. Lord, today. It just dawned on me. It ain't funny. Don't see nothing funny about it.
They got Scotland over there.
Yeah, you need to, come on, you can follow me back around the corner. I just go in and change shirts. I can start this story over. I forgot something.
We're gonna keep it real. Hey, all right, y'all. So for this episode, right? We're gonna start doing this here, but for this episode for sure, make sure you like, you subscribe, you share, and leave a comment. For the 500 comment and the 1,000 comments, I'm gonna do two. 500 comment and the 1,000 comment. We're gonna do a $100 Cash App giveaway. So who's ever number 500, and it be separate comments. So you can leave a few comments on there. But we're gonna count it 500 and then 1,000, and we'll do a $100 Cash App giveaway. So make sure you like, subscribe, share, and leave that comment. Okay, leave that comment.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
Good, good.
You watched it last night?
Yes, I did.
What you think?
Oh man, I mean, like I thought it was gonna go. Two old dudes just in there. Trying to take the fun.
Why did Nate run to the Bears and stuff like that?
Nate, though, you know, he said he wants to be, I guess, one of the best athletes out there. But you gotta understand, you know, boxing is what it is.
Oh, yeah.
Out in that thing.
Oh man, that was bad.
You end up watching it, or?
Yeah, my buddy's in the link.
Okay.
I came on right as it was going down.
Yeah. Good. All right, dude.
Good seeing you.
What's up? I have my vitamins here, so I gotta make sure I have my vitamins. You know, barbering thing, man. You know, you got to stay in shape for that. So you know, you got to have your vitamins. Keep everything together here. A little bit left. I'm about to knock this last bit out. I get my strength from through the day. When I open up here, this is like another shell, right? This is another shell. So you'll see it. All this here now was like just plain. It was just plain. We came through, so I went through it, gave a little tour. But you'll see that how things have just grown. Like I said, we opened here October of 2016. I was, you know, probably 2014. I'd started thinking again, looking again, as far as trying to figure out if I'm going to do this all over again. You know, from the first venture I had with the full service salon and spa, I just wasn't sure if I wanted to jump back out there and you know, be an owner and have to take on those responsibilities. Just wasn't sure about that. But I just kept getting that itch. I just kept getting that itch. So then I just started researching, places and locations. And I rolled past here. I saw when they were building this. Actually, I took a picture of the signage that they had up. It said coming soon. It was like Tony's Corner, coming soon. But you know, I didn't think much of it. I took a picture of the look, but I was like, nah, it's not gonna work. So I would ride by here like every day, and they were just about at completion. You know, with the buildings, they were just about at completion, and then it just like a light bulb went off, like boom. That's where your barbershop's gonna be right there. And just over time, I was just acquired stuff was gotten up here. Didn't have the sewing machine here for this vending machine here. That wasn't there. Now with COVID, as you know, so we had to put up the protection here for the clients and our receptionists and stuff. So got the sneeze shields. Got this up. You know, little things that, you know, times changing now. Definitely different from when we opened up in 2016, October 2016. So we just celebrated 4 years last month, actually. 4 years of opening this location here. So, you know, things coming along, and more to come. Like, you'll see more locations going to be opening up soon and all around the country, in this area and around the country too. Watch out. Just seeing the growth, definitely just seeing the growth of the whole vision and how things are coming together. Because a lot of times when you're in the midst of, or when you're doing things or creating things, you just, sometimes it's hard to see that end picture, and when you're in the process, sometimes you're just wondering, just trying to figure out like why, you know, a lot of times, and just the uncertainty because you haven't seen it before, just the maybe that finished product, but where everything has come about now and where we are, I see, you know, everything happened for a reason. And this is how we are where we are now, just as far as with my growth, my progression, maturity, understanding of the business, understanding of the industry, just everything just coming together. And I was just, you know, might not have taken the road that I had projected it would take, but guess what? I ended up where I wanted to be though. So it's amazing how, you know, how life kind of has its circumstances, but you know, where you end up at, I'm just like, wow, very appreciative, very appreciative.
during these times like this. I want to give back a little bit. So we're just going to do that giveaway, okay? So make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it, and make sure you leave a comment, all right? The 500 comment and the 1,000th comment, all right? 500 and 1,000, we're going to give a Cash App giveaway, all right? $100 Cash App giveaway to each one. 500 comment and the 1,000th comment, all right? We're going to do that giveaway for this video, okay? We're going to be doing it in the future too, but definitely this video right here, so make sure you watch to the end. I might drop another jewel in there for you guys to take part of too, all right?